Okay, so who'd like to start?
I'll start. Hey everyone, my name's AMAC 91981.
Good. And why are you here today?
You already know why.
Yes, I do, but I need you to say it. Accepting that you have a problem is the first step to getting better.
Fine. I'm here because I'm addicted. I'm addicted to Galaga.
What? Is that a new name for Coke? No, man. I think it's a new type of wacky tobacco.
Even worse, it's an arcade game.
Sir, this is an AA meeting.
Yeah, I know, Arcade's anonymous.
Sir, just stop.
Look, let me just explain where I'm coming from, starting where it all began. You know, I still remember the first time I played it. Well, okay, not really, I mean it's Galaga. Saying you know the first time you played Galaga is like saying you know when the first time you ate bread was. And okay, for me that was December 1999, but that's besides the point. While I may have played the game before, the first time I sat down and really made a serious attempt at it was just a couple years ago. I was in a small barcade in the city of Montreal, and there was a cabinet in the back. It was a busy night, and every other game had been taken. I sat down on the stool in front of the cab and pressed play. On the screen appeared one word: Galaga. Now, I'm not gonna lie and say something generic like, it blew me away, or it was so amazing, or anything like that, but the game was good. Its gameplay was so simple, yet at the same time, incredibly addicting. I found myself playing the game over and over and over again, just trying to get further and further on to get the high score on the cabinet. I have played games of a similar nature before, but none of them had gotten me as hooked as hard as Galaga had. Even after I left the bar, I still had a desire to play the game. Honestly, it's a big reason why I finally cracked and bought an arcade stick so that I could finally play it properly at home. Anyway, for those of you that somehow haven't heard of the game, here it is. Galaga is an arcade game created by Namco and released in 1981. In it, you control a spaceship, and you have to move left and right in order to shoot aliens. That's it. Okay, so there's a little more to it than that. At the beginning of each round, enemies will fly onto the screen and form into rows at the top of it. After they're all in their proper formation, they'll take turns dive bombing at the player and shooting at them as they go down. The player needs to avoid these enemies while returning fire. Once all enemies on the screen are defeated, then the player will go on to the next stage. For a game with controls this simple, there's a surprising amount of depth to it. You can only have 2 of your bullets on screen at one time, meaning that if you fire twice, you better hope you're accurate. Otherwise, you'll have to wait for the bullet to leave the screen before you can fire again. If you're too trigger happy, then this can leave you incredibly vulnerable. There are 3 main types of enemies, each with their own attack patterns and other quirks. The Zackos, otherwise known as the Yellow Space Bees, are more erratic and drift left and right as they charge towards the player. Oh yeah, and right when you think you're safe, they'll do a loop as they pass you, meaning that you move to the right or left and you don't see them coming back at you, and bam, you're dead. The Gogi, otherwise known as the red space butterflies, move in a straighter pattern, and they'll often come down with the boss Galagas in order to protect them, making them more harder for you to hit. Speaking of, the final and most interesting of the core enemies is the boss Galaga, otherwise known as the Galaga. These are the only enemies in the game that require 2 hits to kill, and they have a special attack. When they get near the bottom of the screen, they'll emit a tractor beam. If the player's ship gets caught up in this tractor beam, the Galaga will capture the ship. However, you can use this to your advantage. Once the Galaga has your ship, the next time it goes down, it will go down with your ship. And if you kill the boss Galaga while that's happening, you'll recapture your ship. This won't get you your life back, but it will get you something even better. Double the firepower, which you can use to tear through the enemy waves. Now, these enemies and their formation will be the same across all stages. However, as the game progresses, there are various changes that make it even more challenging. For instance, when the enemies come in from the sides, they'll do so faster, and they'll start shooting at you. And sometimes, some enemies will dive bomb at you before they even get into formation. And once they do get into formation, they'll be faster, and they'll begin charging at the player much more frequently. Overall, Galaga it's just one of my favorite arcade games. The core concept is so simple that anyone could just pick it up and immediately know how to play. I mean, it's a two-way stick and a button. There's not a lot of room for confusion here. But the thing is, if you want to keep playing, there's enough complexity to the game to keep you interested. You can play this game hundreds of times, and you'll always still find something new, whether it be a new strategy, a new enemy, and a new attack pattern. Galaga is the very essence of everything that an arcade game should be, and its gameplay is beyond addicting.
So that's my issue. Can you help me? No.
What? Why not?
Because this is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. Oh, come on. Now I know my issue might be strange, but it's still negatively affecting my life. I'm just a person. No. An AMAC who's come to you looking for help. And how can you turn down a person, an AMAC, a fellow AMAC, that's just looking for a new start? Also, I already signed the contract, so you have to let me into the group.
Oh, come on, he should not be allowed in. What are you doing?
And you can't let him in.
What do
You
you
just
mean
rejected
a
Big
contract?
Brother
He can't be
Bilbo
allowed
last
because of a
week.
contract.
Now you're gonna let him in?
He should
Big
not
Brother
be
Bilbo,
allowed into
real
the
problem. I went to grad school for this.